Now, US prosecutors in Virginia have released video showing the final moments of a black patient who died in custody in a mental hospital. Irvo Otieno, who was handcuffed and in leg irons, is seen being pinned down by a large group of police and medical staff for, aren't we seeing the video, for 11 minutes until motionless and limp. His death is the latest example of a black man dying during a violent encounter with law enforcement. Officials haven't said why Mr. Otieno was taken into custody or why he was transferred to the mental health facility, although prosecutors say they were told he was restrained because he was combative. 7 police officers and 3 former hospital employees, the majority of whom are black, have been charged with second-degree murder.
Those 9 men, those 9 thugs and a woman, those 10 monsters, those 10 criminals, I was happy to hear that they were indicted. And that is just the beginning step. I hope that with my team beside me, yes, ma'am, with my friends behind me, with my community behind me, with mothers and fathers who are fearful for what might happen to their children after seeing what happened to Ivor, with young people who are going through mental distress, and the world behind me, we will achieve justice for Ivor Otieno.
Well, for more on this, let's speak to Arise US correspondent Eric Ham, who joins us live from Washington. Good to see you, Eric. So another powerful video showing the last moments in the life of a black man in police custody, yet another violent encounter. Tell us more about the video and the impact it's had.
Yes, Charles, this was a unfortunate incident that took place on March 6th, and this individual who has had a history of mental illness issues and has been hospitalized before. We know that this incident took place at Grand Central Hospital in just south of Richmond, Virginia, which is about 2.5 hours away from the nation's capital. And we see here there were 7 sheriff officers as well as 3 hospital employees, all of whom have been fired, all of who have recently been indicted by a Virginia grand jury. Now, we do know, of course, the video shows that the young man was being restrained by these individuals, and it was when they were restraining him that he eventually stopped breathing and became lifeless. And since then, we know that all of them have been charged with second-degree murder. And it's just another incident that we have seen play out very recently, particularly with the tragic and brutal death of Tyrone Nichols in Memphis, Tennessee, and now another high-profile case of someone in particular who was struggling with mental health, who, of course, unfortunately, has been killed at the hand of both police and hospital employees. Now, the hospital has said that they are actually continuing to cooperate with authorities, and one of the sheriffs that has actually been indicted in this case has already said that he awaits the moment when he can tell his side of the story because he believes he is innocent of any and all charges that have been brought against him. The police officers union has not provided any of the sheriff deputies that have been charged in this case to speak on the record about what happened on that fateful day.
And Eric, the family's lawyer, the well-known lawyer Ben Crump, has been speaking about the case. Just tell us a bit more about what he's been saying, particularly in reference to his suggestion that there's been torture there.
Yeah, I mean, I think well, he's a lawyer. He's fighting for his client. He's fighting for justice. He's fighting for some type of remedy for the situation that has taken the life of another individual very senselessly, unfortunately. And so in instances like this, because he is a very colorful character, albeit a very effective one, and turning the bright light on the injustices, particularly as law enforcement encounters with the African American community in the United States. And what we see here is an individual who is, known to hyperbole when addressing this issue. But again, what we are seeing here is the swiftness in terms of how these individuals have been brought to justice, much similar to what we saw in Memphis with Tyrone Nichols.
And Eric, we've got less than a minute. Do we know why this man was taken into custody in the first place? I understand he was a suspect in a possible burglary.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. He was a suspect in a possible burglary, but what we also know is that he was an individual who was no stranger to mental health issues. And of course, as his mother certainly made mention in a recent interview, that he did have mental health struggles, which did make him no stranger to bouts of actual hospitalization as a result of that. And so again, that's also something that will be taken into account as this criminal case gets underway.
Eric, thanks very much indeed for that update. Eric Ham, Arise US correspondent, talking to me there from Washington.